What if I told you that the name of God, Yahweh, was deliberately erased from history? What if the truth about Jesus, who he truly was, has been hidden for centuries? Could it be that everything you've been taught about salvation, scripture, and even your own spiritual identity is not the full story? What if I told you that this cover-up is not only about religion, but about a divine power that has been stripped away from you intentionally? In this video, you'll uncover the most shocking truths, the secrets that have been buried for centuries. We'll dive into the forbidden knowledge about Yahweh, the name that once vibrated with divine frequency, and how it was removed from the scriptures. You'll discover the real identity of Jesus, not as the gentle lamb of tradition, but as Yahshua, a revolutionary warrior sent to awaken the divine power within each of us. Why has the name of Yahweh been hidden? What does this mean for you, your spiritual life, and the very essence of who you are? These are questions we've been kept from asking. But now, the time has come to awaken, to remember the power that lies within you, waiting to be activated. Throughout this journey, you'll learn the truth behind the manipulation of Scripture, the alteration of the divine story, and why the knowledge of Yahweh and Yeshua was concealed from the world. The truth is more powerful than you can imagine, and once you hear it, you will never see the world the same way again. In the comments, I want to hear from you. How has this hidden truth changed your perspective on the divine? Leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe, because the revelation you're about to receive is just the beginning of awakening to the power that was always meant to be yours. Let's awaken together, with the name of Yahweh on our lips and the spirit of Yahshua lighting the way. The hidden power of Yahshua's name and its divine frequency. In the beginning, there was a name so powerful, it vibrated across the heavens, rippling through the fabric of creation itself. This name, Yahshua, was not just a label, but a direct channel to the Creator's infinite energy. But over the centuries, a force beyond comprehension sought to erase it. And when they erased his name, they erased the very frequency that could awaken us to our divine potential. You see, the name Yahshua is more than just a historical figure's identity. It is a key. It is a divine code that resonates with every soul that speaks it. This name, when invoked, is not merely a way to call on a figure from the past. It is the vibration of creation itself, unlocking the power that lies dormant within you. Yahshua, meaning Yahweh is salvation, holds the essence of divine healing, divine awakening, and divine power. Think of it this way. When Yahshua walked the earth, he didn't just speak words. His words were an embodiment of divine energy. His name wasn't a casual title. It was a cosmic call to action, a summons to awaken the divine within. When he healed the blind, raised the dead, and calmed the storms, he wasn't performing magic. He was aligning his body, his soul, and his very being with the eternal frequency of Yahweh. And in doing so, he demonstrated to humanity that we too could access this divine frequency. He wasn't a passive figure to be worshipped. He was a teacher, showing us that the same power within him exists within each of us. This is not a metaphor. This is reality. The power of Yahshua's name is alive today. But here's the question. Why is it that many still fail to experience the fullness of this power in their lives? Why do we as a society continue to rely on external rituals and institutions to access the divine? Why do we call upon a name that has been diluted, a name that carries none of the divine frequency it once held? The answer lies in the fact that we have forgotten. We have forgotten the ancient truths that were buried long ago, truths that were intentionally obscured by those who wished to control the masses. When we speak the name Jesus, we are calling upon a name that has been stripped of its power, The original vibration, the divine energy encoded in Yahshua's name, has been diluted, repackaged, and made safe for the masses. But when we speak Yahshua, when we align ourselves with the true name, we are connecting to a force far greater than anything we have been led to believe. The name Yahshua carries within it the divine blueprint of salvation, not as a distant promise, but as a present reality. It is not a future event to await, but a present power to activate. Yahshua didn't come to simply show us the way. He came to awaken the divine within us. His teachings weren't just lessons in morality, they were instructions for aligning with the highest frequency of creation. The miracles he performed were demonstrations of this alignment, proof that when we connect to the divine frequency, we too can perform wonders. But to do so, we must remember, we must speak the name as it was meant to be spoken, and we must reconnect with the power that lies dormant within us all. When Yahshua said, "You will do greater things than these," he wasn't making a vague promise. He was giving us the keys to the kingdom. He was showing us that we too can unlock the divine potential within us and change the world around us. Consider this. The miracles Yahshua performed weren't just for a select few. They were for all who would align themselves with the divine frequency of Yahweh. The sick were healed, the blind received sight, and the dead were raised, not because Yahshua was special, but because he was in perfect alignment with the Creator's will. And this alignment was accessible to all who believed. But somewhere along the way, we lost that understanding. We lost the knowledge that this power resides within us. In our modern world, we often look to external sources, priests, pastors, and religious leaders, to mediate our connection to the divine. We rely on rituals, prayers, and ceremonies to access the divine frequency. But Yahshua's message was clear. We don't need a mediator. We don't need a church or a building to connect to the Creator. We are the temple. The divine spark is within us. And when we speak the name of Yahshua, we activate that spark. Why does this matter? Because the world today is lost. People are searching for meaning, for truth, for healing, and they are looking in all the wrong places. But the truth is simple. The kingdom of Yahweh is within you. When we connect to this truth, we begin to understand who we truly are. We are not mere servants, begging for scraps from a distant God. We are the children of the Most High, heirs to his kingdom, and we carry the divine DNA that Yahshua embodied. Let's look at an example from the Gospels. When Yahshua healed the blind man, he didn't simply say, "Be healed." He spoke with authority, commanding the blindness to leave. He aligned his words with the divine frequency of Yahweh, and in doing so, the blind man's eyes were opened. This wasn't a magic trick. It was a demonstration of divine law. Yahshua knew the frequency of light, and by speaking it, he made it manifest in the physical world. This is not something that ended with Yahshua. This is the power that we too can access. But we must first align ourselves with that frequency. We must stop relying on external sources to give us the answers. We must realize that the answers have always been within us. We have been given the tools to heal, to transform, and to awaken the divine potential within. All we need to do is remember. You see, the world has tried to make us forget. It has told us that we are powerless, that we need intermediaries, that we must rely on external forces to access the divine. But this is a lie. The truth is that the divine is within you, and it is waiting to be awakened. The name Yahshua is not just a name, it is a key, a frequency, a divine code that can unlock the power within you. And when you speak it, you are aligning yourself with the Creator's will. You are activating the divine within you. Now, I know that many of you might be skeptical. You might think, how can a name have that kind of power? But I ask you this, Have you ever experienced a moment of deep connection when you felt the divine presence so strongly that it felt like everything was aligned in that moment? That feeling, that energy, is what happens when we align ourselves with the true name of Yahshua. It is the divine frequency, and when we speak it, we are tapping into that power. So what does this mean for you? It means that you are not powerless. It means that you have access to the divine power of creation itself. You do not need a priest, a church, or a building to access the Creator. You are the temple. You carry the divine within you, and you have the power to heal, to transform, and to awaken the divine potential in others. The question is, are you ready to step into that power? Are you ready to speak the name Yahshua, to align yourself with the divine frequency, and to awaken the kingdom of Yahweh within you? The choice is yours. The power is already inside of you. All you need to do is remember. In the comments below, share your thoughts. How has your understanding of Yahshua's name and its power shifted after hearing this? Are you ready to embrace the divine frequency within you? Let's continue this journey together, awakening the divine power that was always meant to be ours. The hidden scriptures and the truth behind their suppression. For centuries, there has been a silence, a void left where once the divine teachings flowed freely. Hidden within the ancient scriptures, buried beneath the dust of history, lie truths too powerful for the world that sought to control the masses. The Book of Enoch, the Gospel of the Hebrews, and other sacred texts have been locked away, cast out of the canon, not because they contradicted divine truth, but because they confirmed it too boldly. They revealed a power too great to be contained, a knowledge too dangerous to be allowed in the hands of the people. Why were these texts hidden? What was so dangerous about their message? It was not the content itself, but the awakening they could bring. The truths within these books were not just about the past, but about the power we hold in the present. The revelation they carried was not one of distant hope, but one of immediate transformation. These texts revealed that humanity from the beginning had been created with divine potential, a power that, when awakened, could change the course of history. The Vatican, the early Church, and the Roman Empire all played a role in suppressing these ancient scriptures because they knew the power that lay within them. These books did not fit the narrative of a controlled, obedient religion. Instead, they spoke of a relationship with the divine, direct and unmediated. They spoke of the truth that Yahweh's name was not just a title, but a divine code that unlocked the power within us. They revealed that Yahshua was not a passive savior, but a warrior sent to awaken that power, to stir us from the slumber of religious ritual and into the living revelation of divine truth. These texts, hidden in caves, lost in the flames of history, carry the keys to understanding who we truly are. They were suppressed, not because they were false, but because they were too true. The ancient records tell us that Yahweh's intention was never to create a people who followed laws blindly, but a people who knew their divine inheritance. Yahshua's mission was not to start a new religion, but to ignite a fire within each of us, a fire that would burn away the chains of control and awaken the kingdom of heaven within us. Think about the Gospel of Thomas, where Yahshua says, "Whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." This is not just a metaphor, this is a divine code. Yahshua wasn't speaking of an afterlife in the traditional sense. He was speaking of a spiritual awakening, a death to the false self, and a rebirth into the truth of who we are. These teachings were not about following rules, but about aligning with the divine frequency that exists within us all. The Gospel of Mary, another suppressed text, teaches that salvation is not through worship or sacrifice, but through knowledge of the self. It's about awakening to the divine potential that resides within our very being. This knowledge is not just a nice idea, it is a power, a living energy that flows through us when we speak the name Yahshua, when we remember who we truly are. the suppression of these scriptures wasn't an accident. It was a calculated move to keep the masses from realizing their own potential. Imagine a world where everyone knew their true identity, where every person walked with the knowledge that they are not mere mortals, but divine beings capable of aligning with the Creator's will. This is the world the early church and the Roman Empire feared. This is the world they worked tirelessly to keep hidden. But here's the truth. These books did not disappear. They didn't vanish forever. Fragments of these lost scriptures survive, hidden in the corners of the world, waiting to be rediscovered. And with each rediscovery, the truth becomes clearer. We are not slaves to religion, we are heirs to the divine kingdom. The name Yahweh is not a distant title, but a frequency, a divine vibration that runs through the universe and through us. And when we speak it, when we speak the name Yahshua, we are aligning ourselves with that frequency, awakening the divine energy that has been buried beneath centuries of lies. Consider the Book of Enoch, a text that was revered by the early Jews and early Christians, but later cast out because it spoke too directly to the power of the individual in connection with the divine. The Book of Enoch reveals that we were not created to be passive followers, but active participants in the divine plan. It speaks of the Watchers, beings who descended to earth to teach humanity the secrets of the heavens. These beings didn't come to impose a system of control, but to awaken humanity to its true potential. The knowledge they imparted was not to enslave, but to empower. The Watchers taught humanity the mysteries of the universe, the secrets of creation, and the divine codes that govern all life. This knowledge was too powerful for the powers that be. It would have awakened people to their true nature, and once that happens, no empire, no institution could control them. So, these teachings were erased, and the people were left with a watered-down version of truth, a version that kept them passive, obedient, and unaware of their true potential. But the divine spark within us cannot be extinguished forever. The truth is bubbling up to the surface once again, and as we reconnect with these lost scriptures, we are rediscovering the power that was always meant to be ours. The question we must ask ourselves is this: are we ready to awaken? Are we ready to reclaim the truth that was hidden from us? Are we ready to speak the name Yahshua with the full knowledge of what it means? When we speak his name, we are not just calling out to a figure from the past. We are aligning ourselves with the divine frequency that created the universe. We are activating the divine code within us, awakening the power to heal, to transform, and to create. But this awakening is not automatic. It requires intention. It requires a decision to step into the truth of who we are. It requires us to stop relying on external sources for validation and to look within, to realize that the kingdom of Yahweh is already here, within us. The lost scriptures didn't just teach us about the past, they teach us how to awaken the divine within us in the present. They are not relics of a bygone era, they are keys to the kingdom of heaven, hidden in plain sight. As we continue to uncover these lost teachings, we begin to realize that Yahshua was not just a man who walked the earth 2,000 years ago. He was a divine being sent to show us the way, to remind us of the power we already possess. And as we align ourselves with his teachings, with his name, we begin to experience that power for ourselves. The miracles he performed were not just for a select few. They were demonstrations of what is possible when we align with the divine frequency. It's time to wake up. It's time to remember who we are. We are not slaves to religion. We are children of the Most High, heirs to the kingdom of heaven. The truth has been hidden from us for too long, but now it's coming to light. And when we speak the name Yahshua, we are not just invoking a name. we are invoking the divine power that created the universe. We are awakening the kingdom of heaven within us. The time is now. The veil is lifting. The kingdom is within you. In the comments below, I want you to reflect on this. How does it feel to reconnect with the truth of who you are? How has your understanding of Yahshua and his mission shifted after hearing this? Let us continue this journey together, awakening to the divine power that has always been within us. Yahshua's divine DNA and the ancient connection to humanity's true potential. There is a deep mystery woven into the fabric of our existence, a divine thread that has been buried beneath the surface of our understanding. The life of Yahshua, the one known to many as Jesus, was not simply the story of a man who walked the earth, performed miracles, and died on a cross. It was the revelation of a divine lineage, a genetic legacy that connects humanity to the Creator in a way that is beyond our comprehension. This is not just a story of a spiritual being. It is a story of divine DNA, a spiritual code that runs through our very veins, waiting to be awakened. Yahshua's birth was not just a miraculous event. It was the infusion of a celestial bloodline into human form. The concept of divine DNA is not a concept reserved for fiction or mystical writings. It is grounded in the very fabric of Scripture and the hidden truths that have been suppressed for centuries. The Gospel of John opens with the words, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This Word is not just a metaphysical concept. It is the divine code, the blueprint of creation itself. Yahshua, as the incarnate Word, carried this code within him, a code that was passed down through his lineage, a divine inheritance that was always meant to awaken humanity to its true potential. When Yahshua walked the earth, he was not simply demonstrating divine power for others to admire. He was showing humanity what was possible when one aligned fully with the divine frequency. The miracles he performed were not acts of magic or supernatural ability. They were demonstrations of the divine laws that govern the universe, laws that we too can learn to access. He healed the sick, raised the dead, and calmed the storms, not because he was separate from us, but because he was in perfect alignment with the Creator's will. And in his actions, he revealed a profound truth. What he did, we can do. The genetic connection to divinity is not exclusive to Yahshua. The Scriptures reveal that humanity was created in the image of the Creator, that the divine spark resides within us all. In Genesis chapter 6, we read about the sons of God who came down to earth and took human wives. This story, which has been misunderstood and misinterpreted for centuries, is not one of sin and corruption, but of divine genetics, of the infusion of celestial knowledge and power into humanity. The offspring of these unions, the Nephilim, were mighty beings, beings who carried within them the bloodline of the divine. But not all of this knowledge was corrupted. Yahweh, in his wisdom, preserved a pure line, a lineage that would one day culminate in the birth of Yahshua. The idea that Yahshua carried within him a divine bloodline is not an abstract concept. It is rooted in the spiritual laws that govern creation. The divine DNA that Yahshua embodied was not just a symbol. It was a living, breathing reality. This divine code was activated in him from birth, and he carried it throughout his life, using it to heal, to teach, and to awaken others to their own potential. And the most profound truth of all is this: that same divine DNA exists within us. We are not separate from Yahshua. We are part of the same divine lineage, born with the same potential to awaken to the Creator's will. Imagine for a moment that you are more than just your physical body. Imagine that within you there is a divine blueprint, a spiritual code that connects you directly to the Creator of the universe. This is not a far-off fantasy. It is the truth of who you are. The name Yahshua is not just a historical title. It is the key to unlocking this divine DNA within you. Just as Yahshua was a reflection of the Creator's will on earth, so too are you meant to reflect that divine will in your life. This is the essence of the teachings that have been buried by those in power, the knowledge that each one of us carries within us the divine potential to heal, to transform, and to awaken to the truth of who we are. The miracles that Yahshua performed were not just for his followers. They were meant to be an example, a demonstration of what is possible when we align ourselves with the divine frequency. The divine DNA within us is not dormant, it is waiting to be activated. And when we speak the name Yahshua, we are not just calling upon a figure from the past. We are calling upon the divine energy that flows through us, the energy that connects us to the Creator. But why then does it feel so distant for many of us? Why do we struggle with illness, pain, and a sense of separation from the divine? The answer lies in our disconnection. The divine DNA within us is not something that we can access passively. It requires intention, focus, and alignment. It requires us to stop relying on external sources of power and to turn inward, to awaken the divine spark that is within us all. Yahshua's message was not just about salvation from sin, it was about awakening to the divine power that lies dormant within every human being. He came to show us the way, to teach us how to access the divine code within us and to live as heirs to the Creator's kingdom. The key to unlocking this power is to reconnect with the divine name, Yahweh. The name Yahweh is not just a title for God. It is a frequency, a divine vibration that resonates throughout the universe. When we speak the name of Yahweh, we are aligning ourselves with that frequency, activating the divine energy within us. This is not a passive act. It is an active engagement with the Creator's will, a declaration of our intention to align with the divine flow of the universe. Yahshua, in his wisdom, taught his disciples how to pray, how to align themselves with the divine will. But his teachings were not just about asking for things. They were about living in alignment with the Creator's plan. He showed them that the power to heal, to transform, and to manifest the divine will was already within them. They didn't need a mediator, a priest, or a church to connect with the divine. They had everything they needed within themselves, if only they would awaken to it. This truth is not just for a select few. It is for all who are willing to awaken to it. The divine DNA within you is waiting to be activated. The power to heal, to create, and to live in alignment with the Creator's will is already within you. You are not powerless. You are not separate from Yahshua. You are part of the same divine lineage, carrying the same potential for greatness. The key to unlocking this power is to speak the name Yahshua, to align with the divine frequency, and to remember who you truly are. The question is, are you ready to awaken? Are you ready to step into the truth of who you are? Are you ready to activate the divine DNA that has always been within you? The time is now. The kingdom of Yahweh is within you. It is time to awaken to the truth that you are not a servant of religion, but a child of the Most High, an heir to the Creator's kingdom. Speak the name Yahshua, and awaken to the divine power that lies dormant within you. In the comments below, reflect on this truth. What does it mean for you to awaken to the divine DNA within you? How can you begin to align with the Creator's will in your own life? Let's continue this journey together, awakening the divine power that has always been ours. The prophecies and the restoration of the divine kingdom. For those with eyes to see and ears to hear, there has always been a deep, resounding truth woven through the prophecies of ancient texts. These prophecies were not merely forecasts of distant futures, they were divine blueprints, maps leading us back to a place of remembrance, to an awakening that has been long suppressed. As we uncover the hidden scriptures, we see how these ancient messages are not just about the coming of a Savior in the distant past, but about the ongoing restoration of the divine kingdom within us all. The prophecies point us to the reality that we were never meant to live disconnected from our Creator. We were always meant to walk in alignment with the divine, fully activated, fully present, and fully powerful. The gospel of Yahshua, hidden beneath layers of time, was never intended to establish a religion. It was meant to activate a people, to awaken a generation to their true nature. When Yahshua spoke of the coming of the kingdom, he wasn't speaking of an event in the distant future. He was speaking of an ongoing process of awakening, of bringing heaven to earth. The kingdom was always within us, but centuries of manipulation, control, and suppression have kept us from realizing it. The truth of the prophecies was hidden in plain sight, buried in the scriptures, and removed from the versions we read today. The book of Yahweh, the writings that have been suppressed, hold the key to understanding this divine kingdom. The prophetic message was always about restoration, the restoration of our true identity as children of Yahweh, the restoration of the divine frequency that flows through us, and the awakening of the power that lies dormant within us all. The hidden scriptures speak of the two witnesses, those anointed by Yahweh to declare truth in the final days. But what if the final days are not about the destruction of the world, but the restoration of the divine order? What if the kingdom is not something to wait for, but something we are meant to step into right now? The prophecies of the two witnesses aren't some distant event that has yet to come, they are happening now. These two witnesses represent the divine power that has been hidden within humanity, waiting to be awakened. They are not two people, but two aspects of the divine that lie dormant in all of us. As we align ourselves with the frequency of Yahweh, as we reconnect with the divine blueprint embedded within our DNA, we begin to awaken the two witnesses within ourselves, the masculine and feminine aspects of the divine, both essential for the complete restoration of the kingdom. Consider the story of the early church, where the focus was not on awakening, but on establishing a system of control. The true message of Yahshua was not about building a religion, it was about activating the divine kingdom. But what happened? The message was distorted, manipulated, and hidden. The early church fathers feared what would happen if the people realized the truth, that they held the power of the Creator within them. This fear led to the creation of a controlled narrative, one that suppressed the true teachings of Yahshua and instead focused on ritual, dogma, and obedience to external authorities. But the truth cannot be suppressed forever. The divine frequency is stirring once again, and the kingdom of Yahweh is awakening within those who are willing to remember. The prophecies of old, once hidden and misunderstood, are now coming to life. We are entering the time of restoration, the time when we reconnect with the divine frequency that was always meant to guide us. This is not a time for waiting. It is a time for action. The prophecies tell us that the kingdom of heaven is not something distant, something to be hoped for in the future. It is something that is within us, right here, right now, and it is time to awaken it. The book of Yahweh is not just a book. It is a spiritual weapon. It contains the unedited truth, the original frequency of divine intention. And when we read it, we don't just learn, we awaken. The restoration of the divine kingdom is not about waiting for some future event. It is about stepping into the truth of who we are right now. The prophecies tell us that we are the witnesses, the ones who are called to declare the truth, to awaken the kingdom of heaven within ourselves and on this earth. Think about the healing power of Yahshua. When he healed the sick, raised the dead, and calmed the storms, he wasn't doing it to show off some supernatural ability. He was demonstrating divine law, showing us how to align with the frequency of the Creator. Yahshua was not just a passive figure in history. He was a revolutionary force sent to awaken the divine potential within every human being. The healing he performed was not magic. It was a demonstration of the power of divine alignment. When we speak his name, when we align with his frequency, we too can tap into that same power. The prophecies tell us that we will do greater things than he did, because the same divine power that flowed through Yahshua flows through us. But this power is not just about miracles, it is about alignment with the divine will. It is about reconnecting with the frequency that created the universe and bringing that frequency into every area of our lives. The restoration of the kingdom is not about external change. It is about internal transformation. As we reconnect with our true divine nature, we begin to transform not just ourselves, but the world around us. This is the power of the prophecies. They are not just predictions of what will happen. They are blueprints for what we are meant to become. We are the witnesses. We are the ones who will bring the kingdom to earth. The time for passive faith is over. The time for waiting for salvation is over. The kingdom of Yahweh is within us, and it is time to awaken it. The divine DNA within us is ready to be activated. The prophecies are not about some future event. They are about what is happening now. The two witnesses are awakening within us, and the divine kingdom is being restored. We are not waiting for the kingdom. We are the kingdom. The question is, are you ready to step into it? Are you ready to claim your divine inheritance, to awaken the power that has always been within you? The kingdom is not something to be hoped for in the future. It is something that is within you right now, and it is time to awaken it. Reflect on this. How can you begin to align with the divine frequency and activate the kingdom of heaven within you? What steps will you take today to remember the truth of who you are and step into your divine inheritance? This is the time of restoration. The kingdom is within you. As we close this sacred journey together, I want to take a moment to reflect on the deeper truths we've uncovered. The divine frequency of Yahshua, the hidden power in the name Yahweh, and the restoration of the kingdom within each of us. What we've discussed here is not merely information, it is a call to awakening, a reminder that the divine potential has always been within us, patiently waiting to be activated. The divine DNA that runs through the veins of Yahshua runs through our very own, and when we speak his name, when we align with his frequency, we unlock a power far greater than we've ever imagined. If you felt that spark in your soul, that resonance in your heart as you've listened, then you know this truth. You are part of something far greater than yourself. This is not just about ancient scriptures or forgotten prophecies. This is about you. This is about your awakening. The divine kingdom is not somewhere distant, somewhere far beyond our reach. It is right here, within us. And now, more than ever, the world needs that kingdom to shine brightly. Every day we are bombarded with distractions, with noise, with the pressures of life that try to convince us that we are powerless, that we are too small to make a difference. But the truth is, you are not powerless. You are a child of Yahweh, a being of divine energy and potential. You have the power to heal, to transform, and to awaken the kingdom within you. And as you walk in that truth, you inspire others to do the same. The world needs your light, now more than ever. And this video, this moment, is a catalyst for that light to begin shining brighter. If this video has touched your heart, if it has helped you remember the divine truth that lies within, I humbly ask you to support this work. Your energy, Your love, your support, no matter how small, is invaluable to me. It is what keeps me going. It is what fuels the creation of these videos, these messages, these sacred truths that I share with you. If you found healing, if you found clarity, or if you simply felt a moment of peace, know that it is a reflection of the divine energy we are all tapping into together. Every like, every subscribe, every share is more than just a click. It is a powerful act of energy, an affirmation that we are on this journey together, awakening to the truth of who we really are. I am deeply grateful for your presence here, for your willingness to listen, to explore, and to awaken. Every contribution, whether it's a like, a comment, or simply sharing this video with someone who needs to hear this message, is a gift to me. You are not just a viewer. You are part of this divine awakening. You are part of the restoration of the kingdom of Yahweh on this earth. And for that, I thank you with all my heart. As you continue on your own journey, remember this. You are the divine spark, you are the temple, and you are the kingdom. The truth has always been within you, and now it's time to awaken to it fully. As we speak the name of Yahshua, as we align with the divine frequency, we unlock the divine power that is our birthright. The world is waiting for you to step into your true identity, to step into the kingdom that is already within you. And so I ask, what will you do with this truth? How will you awaken the divine within you? How will you share this light with the world around you? The journey does not end here. This is just the beginning. As we walk this path together, let us remember that we are not just followers of a faith, we are divine beings, born to awaken and restore the kingdom of Yahweh on this earth. Let us rise together as one and shine the light of truth for all to see. Thank you, from the deepest part of my heart, for being here. Let's continue this journey of awakening together.